The point is, the topic is the people going out of pocket due to this pandemic. And according to me, the people have gone out of pocket due to two reasons. One is they directly come to the insurance companies and taken the cover or through their agents. So that is still about 6 to 7% only. Most of it is under the Prime Minister's Jan Arogya scheme or Ayushman Bharat. Under that, or the state schemes like Tamil Nadu scheme, the health scheme, or Andhra Pradesh's, the Telangana, Andhra Pradesh's that Arogya Sri scheme. So these schemes have covered en masse the people. But problem is when you're giving an en masse cover, the sum assured will be very small, because government also cannot afford to give it to everybody a very high sum assured or adequate sum assured. They enter into tie-ups with the various hospitals, mostly the smaller and middle ones. Maybe sometimes by legislation they will force the larger hospitals to earmark a few beds for treating these people who are under these schemes, like the Arogya Shri or Tamil Nadu scheme or whatever. So they say that when they come for a particular serious, maybe a heart operation or a kidney operation, a replacement and all. So they say that you have to reserve some beds for these people also, and then they will pay at the government rates, very nominal rates. So they reluctantly, the hospitals also very reluctantly maintain them, and they do give some service. So in all these cases, they run out of pocket, the patients, when the sum assured is low and the actual expenses are very, very high that they incurred in the hospital for maybe any other disease, or now since we are talking more about the COVID, let's say about the COVID. So they will be going out of pocket. So straight solution is increase the sum assured to a reasonable level. So the average sum assured as of now is around 1.5 to 2 lakhs. The average sum assured. I'm talking about those who don't directly come to us. And in the case of PMJJBY or that Ayushman Bharat, the coverage is about less than 50,000 rupees per person. And that's being so low an amount, normally they can't expect better care. So we have to, find fault partly with the people also. Left to me, I want to call a spade a spade. So that's why I would say definitely even our people, the population, are also to be blamed for the whatever mess that has happened in the COVID's first phase and the immediate starting of the second phase. Why I'm saying this? That's because we found awfully inadequate the infrastructure, the government hospital infrastructure, or the kind of facilities, or even shortage of oxygen. Of course, shortage of oxygen and all do happen when suddenly the demand rises to such an extent that no hospital can have adequate, no government can arrange adequate oxygen supply. Just the other day, I was reading some WhatsApp message wherein some doctor has pointed out, if infrastructure alone inadequacy of the infrastructure alone has caused all this, then they are questioning why so many deaths happened in developed countries, in USA, UK, and all. Also, so many people have died. In fact, USA is the highest number. I don't know whether we have already overtaken them in this dubious distinction. So if it is infrastructure, infrastructure and all are planned for a normal situation. This is an abnormal situation. This is a pandemic. And in a pandemic situation, when the infection is so very high, and not naturally many people will find it, then find the need to rush to the hospitals, and the hospital beds cannot be developed overnight. After all, they may use the car parking areas, and maybe under the flyovers, they may make some temporary arrangements and put some beds and start treating. But where from they suddenly get the oxygens, required oxygen or ventilators and all. So in this, I blame the people. And why do I blame the people? That's because have these people, have they ever demanded from the government for more number of hospitals, for more medical infrastructure? They always ask for free gas, free electricity, free water, free this, free that, and all. And even in Hyderabad, the GHMC elections happened, that is Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections happened just last year. And just before the election, the government has announced 50% reduction in the municipal taxes we pay, or for the property tax that we pay, 50% straight away. Those who have already paid, they said in the next year, there will be reduction by the same amount, 50%. And then people voted the government to power. Now the government, Telangana government, is giving 20,000 liters of water free to everybody. So people look for this kind of freebies, and politicians who are dependent on votes naturally will try to cater to the needs of the people as they want. Which population, which state, which countries, which population has asked for more health infrastructure, better health infrastructure, more number of doctors, more number of medical colleges? None of them. And when a pandemic like this happens, at least now they should talk about this. They have to learn a lesson and demand from the government for more and more infrastructure facilities, medical infrastructure, and no freebies. Let them not accept the freebies. Otherwise, how will the government, from when you have only a tax-paying small base of taxpayers, direct taxes I'm talking about, how will they be able to provide infrastructure and also the freebies and everything to the people? It's not possible. So instead of asking for a small freebies here and there, they must demand more and more of health infrastructure. Left to me, I would say that government possibly may consider a suggestion, because we have officials from the health department, health sector. In the hotel industry, I find that a lot of time the property owner is somebody, the hotel property owners are somebody, and the people who operate the hotel are different. Like the Welcome Group taking over, or Taj Group running a hotel. The owner is somebody, and he built the properties, and then he has given the properties on lease to the hotel for a particular period. And during this period, the hotel is managed entire with the entire facilities they manage and run the hospital. So government can also think in terms of developing the infrastructure, build well-designed hospitals and all that all over the country, right from district level and maybe village level, small dispensaries and all, and give them on lease to these doctors who can run them, or give it to some other establishments who can run the facilities there. And because the government has developed these properties and giving not at a very high rate, here again, if you ask me, I'll say on the railway platforms, even when they let out the premises for these canteens, railway canteens and all, the canteen contractor charges you 20 rupees, 25 rupees, very high sums, and then provide a very dirty quality food. Why? When we question this, they tell that what to do, sir. The whole of the money goes in paying the rentals, and they put it on auction basis. And then each one, whoever bids the highest revenue to the railways, to them only they give. So when I'm paying such a high amount, and then when they restrict the prices of what I'm supposed to serve, naturally, what quality can I give? This is the answer. The same thing should not get repeated when I talk about the infrastructure being developed by the government and giving it on lease to the capable organizations to run hospitals there. So they have to cut down their greed in charging very high rates for that, and rather develop it in the interest of the people, give it a very concessional rate, a reasonable rate on lease, and then the hospitals must be made to serve the people at pre-agreed rates for various ailments, treatments for various ailments. Then possibly we'll be able to develop, have more infrastructure and more of a reasonably costing thing. And as coming to the hospitals charging very high amount, Madam, in her speech, although I agree with everything that she said, there's nothing where I don't agree. Madam said that private sector, after all, when there is no regulation, when there is no control, nobody is controlling, naturally they will use the supply demand mechanism, and then the price gets going up for a hospital bed. It is like an auction going on. So whoever pays in cash, whoever doesn't come with an insurance policy, or if he comes with a very high insurance policy, is okay, welcome. Or if he comes with a small 2 lakh insurance policy or a 1 lakh insurance policy, they say nothing doing. This person is waiting with 25 lakhs in cash, waiting for the bed. So if you want, bring 25 lakhs or 20 lakhs, then I'll give you the bed. That is how it's happening. That happened. So what is required is regulation and control. Because after all, anybody, I'm not blaming the hospital management. Definitely not, I'm not blaming the doctors and nurses. Doctors and nurses have worked beyond their capacities, and then willing to sacrifice their life itself. They worked very hard. So they need to be praised for all the great effort they have put in. I'm talking about the hospital owners, the management, the administration, the owners. So they, of course, they behave like a business house, a corporate business house. Then the prices that here get determined by supply demand. When there is a pandemic, when there is a lot of fear associated with that contagious things, many people, even though they don't require hospitalization, who could be treated at home by as an outpatient or at home itself on teleconsultation, they rush to the hospitals, including that of I mentioned the name of Dr. S.P. Balasubramaniam, the famous singer. He very openly, his family and he himself said, when he was in a position to talk and move, he said he went to the hospital and got admitted just to avoid the disease spreading to the family, to the people in the family. And a person who has a triple-storied or a huge villa kind of a house, and if he himself thinks that he should get admitted in hospital to avoid the disease spreading to the others in the family, then how about ordinary people living in 2-bedroom, 3 bedrooms or small houses? So many people rushed to the hospitals mainly to avoid spreading the disease to the others in the family in order to maintain their isolation. So that is also one lesson we need to draw and keep in mind, that in future, we need to have more and more of such kind of wards, temporary wards, where reasonable facilities are provided, where people who come there for isolation are maintained, and only those who very seriously require hospitalization, they are only moved to the complete hospital. Unfortunately, since I'm from insurance, let me explain to you, there's a lot of criticism. Many people, of course, here you all have been very understanding, and then you have not criticized the insurance sector. But let me tell what kind of criticism we are facing. Many people say the insurance industry has been paying hardly 50% of the claim. They're not paid full claim. That they are talking about an average of the total thing. When we had 28,000 crores of claim, and if I paid about 15,000 crores for the settled claims, there are still outstanding. A lot of claims are outstanding because this treatment is long drawn, and then we can pay claims up to 60 days. After discharge from the hospital, we pay claims up to 60 days, for the 60 days. So they finalize and put all the claim after the 60th day, not immediately. So the claims are still outstanding. So the pending claims out of the settled claim, out of the total claims, we paid nearly 28,000 crores, if that is a claimed initially claimed amount by the hospitals. We registered them for 28,000 crores, and we paid something like 16,000 crores. I'm just roughly giving you an example. It's not that the figures are not absolutely correct, but it's like that. So straight away, the press started saying that, oh, insurance companies are not paying, they have paid only 50% of the claim, not fully. It's not so. What has happened? We claim, ultimately, that was the initially intimated amount. Then the actual bills came in when the claim comes in. And then the bills were, say, instead of 28,000 crores, maybe there were some 24,000 crores. And out of 24,000 crores, there are certain deductions, like, based on the sum assured being inadequate. If somebody has taken a 1 lakh policy and then there is a 3 lakh claim, or if they has taken some 2 lakhs policy, where the room rent per day is only 1%, that is 2,000 rupees per day is room rent allowed. And if he's in ICU, 4,000 rupees for a 2 lakh policy. For a 1 lakh policy, it is 1,000 for normal room rent and 2,000 for the ICU. Now, which hospital has been charging 1,000 rupees for a room or a bed and then 2,000 for the ICU? All of them have been charging very high, very, very high. And as a result of that, all that will go within the policy limits. It is far exceeding the policy limit. So the amount allowed is only as per the policy limit, that only goes. And in some cases where they had 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs cover or 50 lakhs cover, and if the claim is paid only to the extent if the person incurred 20 lakhs, sum assured is 20 lakhs, he incurred 20 lakhs, maybe we paid only 12 lakhs or 15 lakhs. That's again because there is a provision in the policy saying that any amount actually and reasonably incurred is only payable, not the entire amount. Because some hospital, I'm not saying all hospitals, fortunately many hospitals are good, but there are equal number of very greedy hospitals also. They see sum assured and then accordingly they put the treatment online and then they also bill accordingly. If I go with a 20 lakh policy, they see how best to take the entire 20 lakhs. I'm talking about only a few hospitals, those hospitals who are doing this. So please don't jump at me and say that, no, what are you talking? It's not like that. No, I'm not blaming every hospital. There are some hospitals which everyone knows, they go by the sum assured. If I go with a 20 lakhs policy, they try to take the entire 20 lakhs by treating needed treatment and not so needed treatment and everything, and subjecting me to all kinds of diagnostic tests and all kinds of things. So various ways. And all of us know how the billing happens in some of the private hospitals, not all. So they are giving treatment, of course, compared to government hospitals, better treatment. But then they have also made use of the opportunity as expected, and then build very high. So there we allow only what is reasonable for equivalent, because COVID was not existing when these policies were devised. So for the equivalent or contagious diseases, whatever the normal agreed rates are there with the hospitals, we allow only that. So as a result, some amounts don't get paid. So this is how the insurance sector operates. But if you say that should not be, and whatever the insured has incurred must be paid, well, we can pay. That also we can do. But what happens this year? I want to also mention that most of our customers are lower middle and upper middle class people. That is people like you and me who are basically employees. These are the guys or those who are shopkeepers and small shopkeepers and that kind of a businessmen, small businessmen, and mainly these are the guys who are living, just about adequate for survival, that kind of people. So the premium rates, Madam luckily has already mentioned that when the premium rates are like 40,000, 60,000, if somebody is a very old person, 85 years old, a father or mother is there, and if her premium rate is 75,000 rupees per annum, who will be able to afford this? Yes, you're right. Why have they gone to these rates, these levels? When we started the insurance, the health insurance gained prominence in India only around early 2000. It is prior to that, it was very, very nominal, hardly there. Mostly we all used to see only government hospital and treatment there. Now the private sector also started just coming in then, and then we also found an opportunity to do health business. So we started doing, and at that time, the premium rates and all were reasonable, and the insurance premiums were also very, very reasonable. Slowly, what has happened? The trend has set in that hospitals started aligning their treatment based on the sum assured in the policy, based on the policy. When it comes to the maternity cases, all of you know that normal deliveries have become a thing of the past. Majority of the cases are becoming more and more cesarean. And then hospital, if you go with a mild heart pain, you're aged around 45, 50, you have some acidic problem or whatever problem, you're subjected to various tests, all kinds of tests, and then instantly a stent is put or a open heart surgery is done, if there are more than one block or two blocks, like they do all kinds of things, and then subject you to a lot of tests and then bill you very heavily. And as per the sum assured, if I go with a 5 lakh sum assured, my treatment gets completed in 5 lakhs. If I go with a 20 lakh sum assured, they will definitely bill me 18 lakhs, nearly at least. So that is what is happening. And then who to correct this? As Madam very rightly said, there is a need for a regulator. If there is a need for SEBI, if there is a need for IRDA, if there is a need for telecom regulation, why they are not seeing the need for a health sector, a regulator for the health sector?
Mr. Sharma, I would beg your pardon because we have Ravi sir waiting. So I would request you to kindly.
I'll conclude in 2 minutes.
Yes,
Give me 2
yes,
minutes.
please, yes.
So my point is that if these sectors have a regulator, and all these regulator creation happens through an act. So you read the preamble of those acts, they all talk about the vulnerability and giving an opportunity to the public at large to regulate, control, and to avoid exploitation. Why is there no exploitation in the medical sector? Is there no rampant exploitation? Actually, it's happening here. So is there no need for a regulator here? Why everybody is silent on that? Of course, we have been talking and hearing this now, but why it was not done earlier? So the immediate need is to create a regulator to regulate the health insurance sector. The good hospitals, many of the good hospitals, many of the excellent hospitals who are running great service to the people, like I'm talking about the mission hospitals, some of the mission hospitals, they're all rendering fine service. They are all now demanding a regulator. They all want a medical service regulator because they don't want to be put in the same basket as with the other private sector hospitals. So, my friends, this is what is required in the health sector. There is one more reason, as I told you, why people have gone out of the pocket, that is losing jobs. Losing jobs and shops being shut because of the lockdown, factories being shut, and people, a lot of construction activity coming to a grinding halt. All those people that migrated from villages to the urban centers found it very unsafe to continue to live in urban centers where there is so much of a crowding. They thought it's better to rush home and go home and at least get rid of this crowding, and then try to live hand to mouth, whatever there, instead of living and paying rent here. So trains were not there, so buses were not there, so they had to start walking. And these visuals have been highlighted all over the world, saying that India, as if India has gone to dogs. Yes, press does that. They do. Anybody can do that. But point here is this: why it happened that people were not able to, maintain this. It all happened because of a sudden pandemic, and then the only way of controlling the pandemic was, at that time, rightly felt by the Prime Minister at that time, that there has to be a lockdown, a very strict lockdown, and that resulted in saving. Otherwise, India could have been in Italy. India could have been in the USA in the very first wave itself. But lockdown has been imposed, and because of the lockdown, people had to go home, lose jobs, and become out of the pocket. So, our regulator and also the Government of India, Ministry of Finance, have written to the General Insurance Council and out to IRDA, asking us to devise an insurance cover seeking protection from the lockdowns. If there's a lockdown, that insurance industry must pay every employee that has lost pay, at least for 6 months' wages. But these people, I think, forget that insurance they don't know where the insurance companies get their money from. It is the people's money. It's like a chit fund organization, I tell you, somewhat like, you collect monies from everybody, pool them, and from out of this only, we meet the 3 outgoes: claims,
Right,
our management expenses, and then intermediary charges, whoever is bringing the business. So we meet that, and the money is sufficient to do that. But insurance companies don't have a gold mine behind them or a currency press behind them to print currency and distribute. Why even the Ministry of Finance doesn't realize that? God only knows. So they
Sir,
thought the
I
insurance
would request you to
come out with,
kindly wind up.
yeah, winding up one.
Because
Yeah. So they thought that insurance companies can come out with an insurance cover to protect straight away. So then we had to write to them that it cannot be done. We estimated the requirement to be something like 1 lakh crores as the immediate need, even to give a 3 months protection cover to the employees, 1 lakh crores. And out of, we don't have a 1 lakh crore reserve here straight away. So we can contribute, say, by way of premium, we can collect and then make a pool of 5% out of that, that is 5,000 crores. If the pandemic happens in the very first year, you pay 95 and we pay 5, and together 1 lakh we disperse. So second year, if there's no pandemic, we'll still collect 5,000, and then 10,000 we'll have, and 90,000 you bring in. Likewise, we said it takes 20 years for us to build the reserve enough to meet one pandemic. Why? Is because a pandemic, when it happens, it shuts down the whole world, every nook and corner. Whereas a cyclone happens, it happens only on the east coast of India. The rest of the world is safe. So they all contribute their premiums coming here by way of reinsurance, they come in here. But in pandemic, the whole world gets affected all at once. So there won't be any resource to move from one place to the other. There won't be reinsurance. So these are all circumstances are there. These are all issues are there. So I hope you will keep this in mind, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.